Hey folks, Pastor Jim Thomas here from the Village Chapel. In a second, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Eric Sumner. He's going to give you the update that he gave on our Inform and Connect event just a couple nights ago online. And some of you may have seen that, but we're going to replay that for you now. And as well, I want to let you know, Eric has been so great. He has, not only is he a member of our Servant Leadership Council, but he's been coordinating our medical advisory team. Some of the finest doctors in Middle Tennessee have been advising the Village Chapel all along throughout the pandemic as we've considered when is it that we can regather and begin to worship together again in the buildings at either the Hillsboro Village Campus or the East Nashville Campus. So I'm excited to tell you that after talking with Eric a little bit more over the last couple of days, and we've rearranged some of the seating charts in the Hillsboro Village Campus, it looks like we're going to be able to do not one but two services, 9 and 11 a.m. beginning April 11th, and with up to 100 people. And so we're so excited about that. Stay tuned to thevillagechapel.com for an announcement on when you can start registering for that. Now here's Dr. Eric Sumner.
Thank you, Jim and Kim and the staff for the opportunity to talk about COVID-19 and regathering in person. So as Jim mentioned, I'm speaking from the perspective as a member of the Servant Leadership Council, or SLC, and as a practicing physician here in Middle Tennessee. And currently the decisions are being made at the level of the Servant Leadership Council, the Executive Leadership Team, ELT, and another acronym, the MLT, or the Ministry Leadership Team. But all of this with the guidance of the medical community and who are members within the church. And so the Village Chapel, we understand that other churches have chosen different paths with respect to regathering within Davidson County and also outside of Davidson County. And TVC recognizes that there are different opinions regarding how best to manage COVID-19 in the world, in America, in Nashville, and even within the church itself. And so even, after more than 12 months living with COVID-19, there just remains much opinion and less solid evidence on which to base decisions. And so I like to say there's not a playbook for this endeavor. So we have strived to make informed decisions and then make adjustments as new information has become available. And so like Jim mentioned, he and I have been having ongoing discussions with members of the TVC community in the medical field throughout this last year. These individuals, they bring such a wealth of knowledge and deep understanding of the current situations. They're leaders and experts in the fields of infectious diseases, of epidemiology and clinical medicine, like Jim mentioned. So everybody has a little bit of different perspective and is helping provide guidance. And so they represent leaders at the local level, regional, and at the state level. And fortunately for us, they call TVC their home.
Yeah.
And so the SLC has been discussing these medical updates, and we also discuss local COVID-19 updates at all of our regular meetings, and occasionally impromptu discussions are necessary. And, decisions regarding small group activities at the church have changed and fluctuated based on the local environment, but the global plan for corporate worship, that has really been a consistent message thus far. And so, as you know, our last in-person gathering was before Easter 2020, and so much has changed throughout that time. And throughout the years, members of the medical advisory team, the SLC, ELT, MLT, we've all discussed questions with respect to gathering. And so some of these questions I'll mention. So we discuss, what's legal for the Village Chapel, what's actually being recommended by the local, by the state, and by the federal health organizations. What will make corporate worship safe for all TVC attendees? What will make corporate worship safe enough for most attendees? How best should the staff monitor and supervise spaces such as the chapel in Hillsboro Village, the chapel in East Nashville? What about smaller rooms? What about outdoor events? And how should the staff manage groups of people within these spaces? So during a worship service, for example, during small group, a youth activity, children's activity, and nursery. New questions are, how will vaccination status of attendees affect the risk? What concerns are raised with the mutant variants of coronavirus that are now present in Nashville? And what is the risk with singing? And so in-person gathering, as you know, thus far has been limited by the status of COVID-19 in Davidson County and then surrounding communities, but also there are physical limitations to the Hillsboro Village Campus Chapel and the East Nashville Campus Chapel. And specifically, although we love our 100-year-old St. Bernard building, it's such a blessing, but it has some COVID-related concerns, such as old ventilation, small rooms, and then there's the one central high traffic hallway, just to name a few things. And so these limitations are either unable to be remediated, or some of them are just too costly to remediate. And we must understand that remediation is not a guarantee of safety. So TVC recognizes that best practices are going to look different for individuals, for families, for different counties, different states. And likewise, best practices differ between churches within the same area, within the same county. And so some of you may know, because some of you may have attended, that I hosted 2 in-person test services with some lay leaders within the church, such as home group leaders, Sunday school teachers, et cetera. These were in the fall, this past fall. We spaced family units with masks, and we watched the online service together without singing in the Hillsboro Village Chapel. And it was a huge successful test of how to manage people and how to manage the room. But it was really clear that the service wasn't able to fulfill the longing for corporate worship that was missed by everybody since before Easter 2020. And then right after these test groups, unfortunately, the end of the year 2020 COVID-19 surge fell upon Nashville and Middle Tennessee, and then everything changed. And so the regathering plans were paused at that time. You know, if you have listened to any of the online services in the last year, COVID-19 has really directly affected individuals and families within the TVC community, and some of them with serious consequences. And Kim mentioned one family this morning, even today. So I wish to impress upon each of you that the health of all of those who call TVC home has been the priority. Mm-hmm. And we're so proud that the Lord has equipped TVC with such a wonderful team of staff who continue to surprise me every week with their abilities with At Home with TVC and with other weekly events. And also, we're proud that we have contributed to the local fight, the fight against COVID-19, by not risking the health of those who call TVC home. Yeah. By avoiding super spreader church events, which have happened at other churches in Davidson County, in Tennessee, and abroad. And so we're proud to be able to do our part to try to mitigate the virus locally ourselves. But as this target continues to move, we will continue to listen carefully. We'll continue to ask questions and continue to make prayerful decisions.